They promised salvation, enlightenment, or paradise, but behind their facades of hope lay manipulation, terror, and death. These are the top 10 most dangerous cults in history. Be warned, some of these stories will chill you to the bone. Let's start with number 10 and work our way to the most dangerous cult in history. Make sure to watch until the end. You won't believe what some people are capable of. Number 10. Heaven's Gate. In 1997, the world was introduced to Heaven's Gate, a group that believed the Hale-Bopp comet was a celestial taxi, ready to transport their souls to an alien paradise. Led by Marshall Applewhite, a man who referred to himself as Do, this cult fused science fiction with apocalyptic theology. Members abandoned their families, shaved their heads, and dressed in identical black outfits, complete with Nike sneakers, as part of their preparations. Their ultimate act: a mass suicide involving phenobarbital, vodka, and plastic bags. 39 people willingly gave up their lives, believing they were escaping Earth's corruption to join a spaceship trailing the comet. But what makes Heaven's Gate especially eerie is the methodical nature of their deaths. Everything was staged like a macabre ritual, leaving behind chilling videos explaining their actions. Number 9. The Order of the Solar Temple. Imagine a cult that combined medieval mysticism, apocalyptic beliefs, and secret societies. Enter the Order of the Solar Temple. This group operated in the shadows during the 1980s and 1990s across Switzerland, Canada, and France. Their leaders, Joseph Di Mambro and Luc Jouret, claimed to possess divine knowledge and preached that their followers would ascend to a higher plane after their deaths. But when authorities began questioning their finances and practices, things took a horrifying turn. In October 1994, the bodies of 48 members were found in Switzerland, some poisoned, others shot, and many burned in an apparent mass suicide. What's more horrifying is the evidence suggesting many of these deaths were not voluntary. Number 8. Aum Shinrikyo. This is where things take a turn into outright terrorism. Founded in the 1980s by Shoko Asahara, Aum Shinrikyo began as a yoga and meditation group in Japan. But over the years, it morphed into an apocalyptic death cult with visions of a nuclear Armageddon. Asahara convinced his followers that only they could survive the coming apocalypse and that it was their responsibility to hasten it. In 1995, their twisted ideology culminated in the Tokyo subway sarin gas attack. Members of the cult released deadly nerve gas into 5 subway cars during rush hour, killing 13 people and injuring over 6,000. The attack was meticulously planned. They used umbrellas with sharpened tips to puncture sarin containers before escaping. Number 7. The People's Temple. Jim Jones was a charismatic preacher, but beneath his charm lay a manipulative ego. By the 1970s, he convinced over 900 followers to relocate to Jonestown, a remote settlement in Guyana, claiming it would be their utopia. However, Jonestown quickly turned into a prison. Members were subjected to constant surveillance, forced labor, and beatings. In November 1978, U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan visited Jonestown to investigate claims of abuse. He was assassinated by Jones's guards as he attempted to leave with defectors. Shortly after, Jones commanded his followers to perform revolutionary suicide. Cyanide-laced Kool-Aid was distributed, and parents were forced to give it to their children first. In the end, over 900 people died, including 300 children. Number 6. The Branch Davidians. David Koresh's name is forever linked to one of the deadliest standoffs in American history. The Branch Davidians started as a religious sect in the 1950s, but when Koresh took over in the 1980s, he turned the group into his personal kingdom. Koresh claimed he was the Lamb of God and preached that the apocalypse was imminent. In 1993, federal agents raided their compound in Waco, Texas, under allegations of illegal weapons stockpiling and child abuse. What followed was a 51-day siege that gripped the nation. Inside the compound, Koresh's followers, including women and children, lived in fear and isolation. Negotiators pleaded for their release, but Koresh refused, claiming the end was near. The siege ended in tragedy when a fire broke out during the final assault, killing 76 people. Whether the fire was started by the FBI or the Davidians remains controversial to this day. What's undeniable is the sheer loss of life and the chilling fanaticism that drove it. Number 5. The Movement for the Restoration of the 10 Commandments of God. Most cults preach about the end of the world, but few take it as far as Uganda's movement for the restoration of the 10 Commandments of God. Led by Credonia Mwarinda and Joseph Kibwetera, this group claimed the world would end on January 1, 2000. Members sold their possessions and gave up everything to prepare for the apocalypse. But when their prophecy failed, the leaders turned to drastic measures. In March 2000, over 800 followers were killed in what seemed like a mass suicide. However, investigations revealed that many were poisoned, stabbed, or locked inside a burning building. The leaders vanished, leaving behind a scene of horror and a death toll that rivals history's worst massacres. Number 4. NextVM. On the surface, NextVM seemed like just another self-help organization. Its workshops and seminars attracted people looking for personal growth, promising to unlock their potential. But beneath its polished veneer lay a deeply disturbing secret. Keith Raniere, the cult's leader, styled himself as a genius capable of transforming lives. What he truly created was a pyramid scheme of abuse and control. Within NextIVM, there was a secret group called DOS, short for Dominus Obsequious Sororium, or Master over Slave Women. Members were coerced into signing up under the guise of empowerment, only to find themselves branded, yes, branded, with Raniere's initials near their hips. Number 3. The Children of God. In the 1960s, David Berg founded the Children of God, a cult that promised love and spiritual freedom but delivered abuse and exploitation. What started as a religious movement quickly turned into one of the most controversial and dangerous groups in modern history. The Children of God operated in communes where members were cut off from the outside world. Berg, who called himself Moses David, preached radical of Christianity that included promoting child abuse as part of their doctrine of love. Children were groomed and exploited, often used as tools to recruit more members. Even after Berg's death, the cult, rebranded as the Family International, has struggled to shake off its dark past. While some members have distanced themselves from its practices, the scars it left on its victims remain a chilling reminder of what unchecked power can do. Number 2. The Manson Family. Few cults have left as much of a stain on history as the Manson family. Led by Charles Manson, this small but deadly group of followers committed one of the most infamous murder sprees in American history. In the late 1960s, Manson convinced his followers that a race war he called Helter Skelter was imminent. He claimed they would emerge as the leaders of the New World Order after the chaos subsided. To accelerate this supposed apocalypse, Manson orchestrated a series of murders designed to spark racial conflict. Manson's ability to manipulate his followers into committing these heinous acts is a terrifying example of brainwashing in its purest form. Though he never physically carried out the murders himself, his charisma and ideology turned ordinary people into killers. Manson's name has since become synonymous with evil. Number 1. The Nazi Party. When we think of cults, we often picture small, fringe groups operating in the shadows. But the most dangerous cult in history was one that operated on a global stage, the Nazi Party. Under Adolf Hitler's leadership, the Nazis turned Germany into a totalitarian regime that relied on propaganda, fear, and blind loyalty to thrive. What started as a nationalist political movement morphed into a cult of personality, with Hitler at its center. His speeches, laced with hatred and promises of a pure Aryan race, hypnotized millions, leading to one of the most devastating wars in human history. By the end of World War II, the Nazi Party had caused over 70 million deaths worldwide, leaving behind a legacy of pain, loss, and a sobering reminder of what can happen when hate goes unchecked. This wasn't just a cult, it was an engine of global destruction. These cults didn't just change the lives of their followers, they left permanent scars on history. They remind us of the dangers of unchecked power, manipulation, and blind loyalty. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into history's darkest moments, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching and stay curious. Until next time, keep questioning the world around you.